Thank you so much for coming in today to this podcast. I'm very excited. It's such a special podcast because I have women coming every day to my healing center telling me how tired they are, especially after 40. That they cannot sleep, they have a lot of joint pain, a lot of they have gained a lot of weight. So this is such a special episode to educate women and about hormones and about perimenopause. I'm very excited and thank you so much for being here today. So we have a special guest, Dr. Jones, here with us. So she's gonna educate us about hormones and everything else that's happening in our beautiful women's bodies.
Yes, thank you, Yulli. Nice to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So, yeah, please tell us a little bit about how long you've been in business, why you got into what you do, and all that.
Okay. Well, my name is Dr. Tammy Jones, and I've been a physician for about 31 years, and I've been in the Virginia area for about 10 years. The reason that I'm here is that I purchased a practice, and I practice what's called concierge medicine, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But my focus is on basically root cause and prevention. So I get to do that really well in this environment, and I love it.
I love it. I love it. That's why we love you at the Healing Center. All your clients speak so highly about you. And what really caught my eye is that you're also, of course, you're a doctor, but you also have the holistic approach, which just goes, I think that's the best. Yes.
Well, thank you.
And explain to our audience about the difference being a concierge doctor and a regular doctor.
Sure. Well, most of you have probably been to a hotel where there's a concierge, and basically what a concierge means is that that person is helping to facilitate things for you. So a concierge practice is a doctor who really takes time to facilitate not just your health, but your results, going through all of the testing that you need, facilitating conversations with other doctors, making certain that you get that personalized care that you really deserve to have. And I wish everyone could get that type of medicine, but I love giving that type of medicine. It's a little different than a regular practice in that, one, we spend a lot more time with our patients. Part of that is because the patients have paid a little bit more of a fee. That fee for us in MDVIP is really giving you an executive level wellness program. So our wellness program is really detailed. We do a little bit deeper dive into your blood work. We're looking for root causes of things so that we can fix those things and give you better health for the long run. It's different than a medical practice also in the sense that we spend at least an hour, hour and a half going over your results. And I literally go line item by line item through all of those results. So once you come to get your testing, your screening test, your EKG, once I sit down with you, it's a line item by line item review of those things with notes and explanations and things that I like to do.
Oh, that's amazing. And so when you talk about concierge, that means what about for people who they need to go to the hospital? They can have their insurance and have this membership, and then they can get in instead of like calling your regular doctor, and sometimes it takes so long to get in. So this is more like a VIP thing, right?
Absolutely. It's very personalized. So if someone does need to go to the hospital, first, our whole focus is to keep you out of the hospital, right?
Oh,
so we spend that extra
yeah.
time and we do that deeper dive so that we can prevent things before they happen. But also, if you have a need, so for my patients, they have 24/7 access to me. I don't have an answering service. They don't call another doctor. When they need me, they call me. They're calling my cell phone. I respond or I call them back. If they need something, even while I'm on vacation, they're reaching me to get those things done and hopefully keep them out of the emergency department. But again, the membership fee for MDVIP covers the wellness program. All other visits are billed to insurance like a normal visit.
Nice. Okay. All right. So now let's dive into the hormone parts, which I'm very excited because I am in my 40s and I'm getting to the part where like you're working out but you're not losing weight, and like I see, like I hear it every day at my practice at the healing center. especially women in their 40s, like gaining weight so fast, and then they're like, but I'm eating healthy and I don't know what's going on, and now my joints hurts, my body's changes, so let's dive into it.
Absolutely. So there are lots of things that contribute to weight gain, especially at 40. A lot of women are not aware, but we make a lot of hormones. One of the things we think about that behaves like a hormone is insulin, so we'll talk a little bit about insulin resistance. All women make estrogen. We all know about estrogen because it disappears or decreases after 40, and it really falls after 50. So that's menopause. But there's a period before you get to menopause called perimenopause, where the estrogen levels are kind of bouncing up and down, and perhaps they get a little low and you may not have a cycle, or they may be a little high and you're having heavy cycles, and you may go back and forth between that. But all women also make a little bit of testosterone. That's the part that we don't talk about very often. Conversely, men generally make testosterone, but they make a little bit of estrogen. So nature has made us that way, but most women are unaware you have testosterone. So we have to focus on that in addition to the estrogen.
So when that gets low, and that's when like problems start.
Exactly. So when you hit 40, in general, your estrogen levels start to fall a tiny bit even in your 20s, but it's so gradual that you don't feel it. And what happens is every 7 years or so, you'll notice that your cycles change a little bit. That's because your estrogen levels are changing. When we hit perimenopause, those changes are more drastic. And then when you hit menopause, you're no longer making estrogen. So you feel the hot flashes, the night sweats. But there's a period of about 8 to 10 years in between that we call perimenopause, when you may not have no estrogen.
You say 8 to 10 years?
It can last that long for some women. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. But that period of time, your estrogen levels will generally drop. And you may recover a little bit in 2 or 3 months, but it'll drop again. And that's what you're feeling. So it causes brain fog. It causes irritability, trouble sleeping. Your cycles will start to change. And a lot of women will start to gain weight because it's not just estrogen, but your insulin levels are changing too. Why?
Yes.
You've got children, you've got parents, you've got work, and all that stress is creating cortisol. Cortisol is a stress hormone that all of us make, and a little bit of stress is good, but too much stress causes you to start craving sugar. Sugar makes you create more insulin. Insulin makes you gain weight. So it's kind of, they all hold hands, and we have to tease them apart to figure out what's happening for your individual metabolism.
Wow. Yeah, that totally makes sense. That's why, like you say, your sugar levels spike in your especially early 40s, and that doesn't help. That's why people's like, I mean, I read articles, they're like, yeah, after 40, people gain weight like 40 pounds and eating the same food, the same diet, and working out, and like, it's insane. Yeah,
so what generally happens, and a lot of people don't know this, but I love explaining this in my practice. When we eat food, there's this concept, just a scientific concept. We don't create energy, we don't destroy energy, it just changes form. So when we eat, the body takes that energy from the food and it stores it in one of 3 places. It's either going to be in a carbohydrate tank, a fat tank, or a protein tank. The carbohydrate tank, your body basically, those are starches, potatoes, rice, bread, pasta. Those foods your body uses for energy, turns it straight to sugar, and it uses it for energy. Well, I'm going to focus on that because in the American diet in particular, typically that tank should be really low because your body only needs it for energy. But if that tank starts to fill up, then guess what happens? If you're exercising and moving, you can get rid of that quarter of a tank pretty easily. But if you're not exercising and moving, then that tank fills up. Now, insulin comes on board. Your body calls it up naturally. There's nothing you can do to stop it. But once it comes, it says, okay, I'm here to help you lower your blood sugar. If that level doesn't lower, insulin hijacks your metabolism. And now, no matter what you do, exercise, eating well, insulin has taken over the metabolism. So every carb you give now, insulin is turning it into fat, which is making you gain weight around your midsection.
Oh, that explains why people in perimenopause, they mainly all the weight is on the stomach.
Exactly.
Wow.
So we think about weight gain under the skin. That's one type of fat. But a lot of weight gain, especially related to menopause and insulin resistance, is around our organs, which makes our stomachs protrude.
Yes, that totally makes sense. So you already talk about the cortisol hormones that help us to manage the stress. So I always advise my clients manage your stress, and I think by them managing that will help to kind of regulate the hormones and
Absolutely.
and the weight and all that, because I feel like we get so hung up and like, oh my God, I'm getting so much weight and I don't know what to do and I'm doing all the right things, but it's nothing happening. So I feel like our body just gets more stubborn.
That's true. Cortisol makes you crave carbohydrates. Too many carbohydrates makes insulin turn on in your metabolism. When you have too many carbohydrates and insulin turns on, insulin hijacks the metabolism. So controlling stress is definitely a part of controlling your insulin metabolism.
Yeah, but I heard about like when you're in the, what would be the best exercise for women in their 40s, like, because sometimes exercising, you're already stressed and it will work against your body because you're already in that stage of high stress, and then you go and get more. So I heard like exercise like walking, like more low impact.
That's a great point. A lot of women will go to the gym and think, oh my gosh, I need to run on a treadmill to get rid of this or to lose weight, and that's not true. You only need about 20 minutes of cardio a day. And it's really not for weight loss as much as it is to strengthen the heart and lower blood pressure. After that 20 minutes, women really need strength training. So one of the things I recommend, and it's an excellent exercise, is Pilates.
Pilates is my favorite. I knew you would say Pilates because I recommend that to all of my friends.
Indeed.
The Pilates.
It's my favorite exercise to recommend to women over the age of 40. Next would be yoga. Yoga is also a very good one. And swimming. And any kind of resistance training that doesn't require you to lift a lot of heavy weights. Light weights with a lot of frequency will do the same thing. Why is that so important? Pilates is good because it helps you strengthen your core. You're also using a lot of energy to do those exercises because you're using your body weight for resistance. That also decreases your chance of getting osteoporosis. So I can't stress that enough. That's another one we always forget about, but that's a control of a calcium metabolism in the body, which responds to all these other things that we're talking about. Stress, insulin, how we eat, what we eat. Those things are very important. So Pilates is really good for that. Yoga is another because, again, you're using your body weight for resistance, and it helps to burn calories and strengthen your core.
Absolutely. Yeah, and even now I see these apps and a lot of people are doing Tai Chi.
Yes.
So it's like really good. I have a client that she's doing it right before she goes to bed, and she said it really helps her to relax before going to sleep.
That's one of my favorites for women over 65 is Tai Chi.
Really?
Yes.
Tai Chi? Yeah, I never tried it. I think I'm open to try Tai Chi.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then what about nutrition? Like, what do you recommend for people like in their 40s about their nutrition intake?
That's a good one, especially somebody who's stressed. Because what do we typically do? We always go to the quick thing or the thing that takes the least amount of time, which tends to be ding, 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 carb heavy.
Yeah.
So we really want to try to avoid what I would like to call simple carbs. Simple carbs turn directly into sugar. So those are going to be your white foods, rice, pasta, potatoes, any food made from flour. So there's your bread and things made from bread, your pastries, anything made from sugar. So those are simple carbohydrates. We should probably avoid those or make them the exception rather than the rule. If you must have carbs, and sometimes when you're working out and busy, you do need that energy, you want to get a complex carb. That's a carb that nature made, not one that man made. So a sweet potato versus a white potato or mashed potatoes or French fries. You want to pick those things that nature has put the sugar in it versus man putting the sugar in it.
Yeah, the diet. No, you're right, because I myself, like, I eat a lot of sweet potatoes. I love rice, but I kind of gave up rice because it's like you have to choose your carbs more like a plant-based, in my opinion, that it really helps with you know, with the journey of being in the 40s, the beautiful 40s.
To add to that, you should also have leafy green vegetables almost every day, because you want that fiber, because fiber helps to lower your cholesterol. Fiber also helps with your blood sugar metabolism, believe it or not. So for every gram of sugar that you eat, if you eat a gram of fiber, you're basically canceling that sugar. And fiber are going to be your whole grains, your leafy greens, your natural fruit, not dried fruit. Dried fruit is sugar, guys. Stay away from that.
Oh, the dry fruit, yeah.
It's mostly sugar, right?
Yeah.
So, and then lean protein. A lot of people will go to the, heavily fried or cooked proteins. You want things that are sautéed or baked, and definitely use a polyunsaturated oil like olive oil, avocado oil versus your solid oils. So lean protein, cruciferous vegetables, and fiber.
Absolutely. And what about, let's talk about, since we're talking about our nutrition and intake, about our gut inflammation.
Oh, yes.
Oh my God, that's my favorite topic, the gut inflammation.
So ironically, part of what we do at MDVIP, I talked about the advanced testing. We've pretty much learned that a lot of people focus on cholesterol. Everybody believes that cholesterol is what causes heart disease. And that is true to a degree. But cholesterol by itself does not cause heart disease. It's cholesterol in the setting of inflammation. Or where does inflammation come from? We all can imagine that if you get a cut or burn, that's inflammation. But inside of our gut, the organ that kind of digests our food, if we're not putting the right types of starches and bacteria in our gut, then that gut will allow certain types of inflammation from stress, from things that we're doing, from things that we're eating, to enter our bloodstream through our gut. So things that we should do to keep that healthy are take both prebiotics, which are your healthy starches, and probiotics. I'm a big proponent of probiotics, but you have to have the prebiotics for the probiotics to work. What's the difference between the two? Prebiotics are the starches that the probiotics, bacteria, use to keep the gut healthy. And the majority of inflammation that enters our body enters through our stomach, through our gut. So a healthy gut biome is what we call it, and that's the bacteria that naturally grows there, is extremely important at calming inflammation.
Wow. So give us an example of prebiotics.
That's a good one. Sauerkraut.
Sauerkraut
is a very German food.
Kimchi.
Yes, kimchi. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there are certain starchy foods that will help the bacteria to keep itself at high numbers. And then the probiotics are the bacteria that normally grow in the gut. And there have been studies that show that people who have a little more weight or grow up in certain family structures will share bacteria that causes inflammation or obesity or other issues. And if we can change that gut biome, we can keep ourselves healthy.
Healthy, yeah, that is so important. I always tell people, like, your gut is very important, and I can see also when people are holding a lot of stress, all the storage in your gut. And that's something that we ignore. Like, I love stomach massage myself. And some people are like, no, I feel weird. But that's so important. Like I said, we ignore our gut.
Yes.
And it's very important organ to take care of it.
You'll hear in recent or upcoming, articles, and there's talk now of the gut brain, because they say that it's so important, and it actually does control a lot of things that happen in our real brain. So what we put in becomes part of us. So just be mindful of what we're putting inside of our mouth, because the body is changing that into a form that we can use. And those things that it gets rid of can either be healthy or harmful for us.
Yeah, and I think that's why as we age, our stomach becomes more sensitive. Like, I don't remember when I was in my 20s, I can eat anything. And I was like, nothing happened to my stomach. But now my 40s, I'm like, oh my gosh, I ate something and it's like, takes me 2 days to recover.
Yes. Well, that brings up a good point, because there is something called leaky gut. So when we're born, the gut has a nice thick mucus barrier on it that prevents certain things from getting in and allows other nutrients, healthy things, to get into our bloodstream. As we age and as we expose it to things that may not be so healthy for us, I think of gluten. Gluten is one of those things for a lot of people.
Yes.
If you keep exposing it to that chemical, it's going to get rid of that thick protective mucus barrier. And you can imagine if that mucus is gone, now those cells are exposed to inflammation, and that can cause all kinds of things like achy joints, brain fog, all the things that mimic perimenopause can happen also because our gut isn't as healthy as it could be.
Yeah, so that totally makes sense. Yeah. And going back to the hormones, so when medical treatment or hormone therapy might be appropriate?
That's a great question. Typically, women will present when they hit menopause because they're feeling awful. They're not sleeping, they feel bloated. There's the brain fog that goes with that, and that's what I hear most often, along with the hot flashes. But they feel those symptoms, and that's usually when they present. But I like to tell women when you hit 40 is about that magic time when you should at least get a baseline of your hormones. Because most women are still having their cycles then, but every 7 years, as I mentioned, something starts to change. The cycles are different in consistency, in duration, in how heavy your flow is. So getting a good baseline around 40 is a good idea. Then every 4 to 5 years, check it again, especially if you start to present with symptoms like, I'm gaining weight and I can't figure out why. I'm not thinking as clearly, I'm more irritable. When you notice that things aren't as easy as they used to be, it's probably a good time to check in with your doctor again. And remember, too, that we don't do hormones as part of a routine panel. So you specifically have to ask or tell your doctor, I'm experiencing these things. I'm concerned if they're related to my hormones, because it's not part of a routine panel. But a very skilled doctor knows how to get those things obtained and to get your insurance to cover it.
Oh, okay. So, like, for example, if I go to the doctor, if I forget to remind my doctor, and she will do it, but if I go to you, like concierge doctor, do you guys say, oh, you're not been feeling good? Okay, let's check your hormones. So what is the difference between if I go to my regular doctor and I have to remind her, like, hey, I'm not feeling good, can you check my hormones? So
that's a great question. Excellent question. What happens in my practice is, one, I'm paying much more attention to my patient, their symptoms, and what they're telling me. So I get outside of the box of what insurance tells me I can and can't do. So yes, I will bill it to your insurance, but I'm thinking what other factors are acting upon my patient that are making her feel this way. They're the common things that occur commonly, but I don't just think about those things. I expand my approach to think about the other things that aren't so common, but I'm aware can cause these issues. So hormones is part of what I do, so I'm always thinking about it. So when someone says, I'm feeling these symptoms, it fits outside of what's considered normal, I just expand my search and I include the hormones as part of it.
Oh, wow. Yeah, no, that is great, because then it's like more specific, you know.
Right.
And also, I have a question for you. So my mom, I believe she got her menopause early in life, like like some people get it in their 40s. Will that be genetic, like for their kids to have it early as well?
That's a very good question as well, because it is true that while menopause isn't genetically linked, you do tend to follow your mother's history. So if your mother had menopause early, chances are you're going to have menopause early. If your sisters had menopause early, you're likely going to have menopause early. And it is related to your cycle. So if you started your cycles earlier in life, you're going to have your menopause earlier in life. If you started your cycles later in life, you're likely to have menopause later in life. So it does tend to follow familiar patterns, even though there's no gene that says it's going to happen this way or that way. It just follows patterns in certain families.
Wow, very interesting. Yeah. Can therapies such as massage help? Obviously, we talk about that. It does help the stress and the cortisol levels. So.
Absolutely. In fact, I recommend for a lot of my patients, we talk about not just what is your day to day, but how is work impacting you? How are taking care of your children impacting you? Some people are taking care of their parents. I look at the whole patient, mind, body, and spirit, because that matters to me, because you can't separate those three things in the physical body. Your physical body is going to carry that stress in one way or another. So I'm looking at how is that energy being transferred in this patient's body and how is it affecting them. And then we look at therapeutic approaches to fix that. Massage is very good because it's relaxing. You're actually getting rid of inflammation and tightness in the muscles. You're giving them a time when they can really relax and think and just take a deep breath, which a lot of us don't do throughout the day. Sometimes just taking a deep breath will lower your blood pressure.
Yeah.
Laying down for a massage will lower your blood pressure. Yeah. Those calming sounds that you play in the room actually change brain waves and can lower blood pressure and decrease stress hormones. So you mentioned customization. I love that word because that's a lot of what we do is when you're interviewing and you have the time to talk to the patient and really get to know them, you understand how all of the factors that are going on in their life are contributing to their physical well-being, and that makes a huge difference. So I love that word, and I think we kind of do the same thing probably from different modalities.
Absolutely.
It's my favorite part of the day.
Yes, no, it is, and we have, like in my practice, in my healing center, we always have 30 minutes in between clients because 30 minutes allow us to people sometimes come so rushing, like, oh my gosh, I'm late 5 minutes. I'm like, relax. We have time. This is time for you. This is time to decompress. So tell me about your day. And, oh, I don't want to make you late for your next. I say, don't worry. It's all good. Like we had that extra time to really focus on the patient, on the client, and really care for them for that 90 minutes or an hour. Or your sessions, I'm sure they're longer, and taking that time and the caring, and that's what makes us different. This holistic approach is not just rushing the client now, it's actually spending that quality time with the client and listening to their needs, to no, you matter, we see you, we hear you,
And I could say too, with concierge medicine, that's probably one of the benefits is I don't feel that I'm ever rushing to do anything. When I'm with that patient, they have my undivided attention, and they deserve my undivided attention. And I have to say that's my favorite part of my day.
No, the time, and that's what makes us different than any other place, not like rushing. I feel like this world is going 100 miles per hour already, so we need a place to kind of slow down. Yes. So, so how do the nervous system regulate affects hormones balance?
That's a good question. We keep coming back to that cortisol. When we're in a very heightened state, the body has two systems. You have a parasympathetic nervous system and a sympathetic nervous system. One of them we control, one of them the body turns on naturally. When we're doing things in a hurried manner or in a heightened way, the part that you don't control takes over and it floods the body with cortisol, another one of those stress hormones. So that causes the mind to race. You're thinking quickly, you're trying to do things very quickly. And that oftentimes causes us to make errors, or it's got us so heightened that it's hard to calm down. We really want to override that with the sympathetic nervous system, which is the part we control. So slowing our breathing, slowing our heart rate, all of those things change our brain waves, which in fact give us another hormone that washes out that cortisol. And I encourage people who are really having a hard day or a rough day or everything's just so hectic to have a good laugh, or to move, exercise, or do a good deed for someone else. Why is that? Because that gives your body endorphins.
And that is what is it called? The vagus
nerve, yes.
Yeah.
The endorphins wash out the cortisol. So if you've ever been in a really bad mood and you had a good laugh, what do most of us say after that good laugh? Whew, I feel better. We almost all say it. And it's true because that laugh actually washes out the cortisol.
That's awesome.
With endorphins.
Yeah.
Well, exercise does that, and doing good deeds for other people does that as well.
Yeah. And how about I have a lot of people with anxiety, so especially after the 40s, getting very anxious. And the same thing, I guess that's also the breath work. And so I do that breath work and sound healing, kind of getting the nervous system calm down.
Exactly. And I'm a big proponent of meditating and journaling, which is another way to kind of focus your attention. Meditation is really important to me because it, one, slows down the brain waves, but also it allows you to hear. All of us have this natural intuition, and we're rushing around through our day, kind of ignoring it most of the time. But a lot of people say, if I just listen to my first mind, well, we all have that intuition that's kind of guiding us throughout the day. But meditation allows you to slow everything down so you can hear what that inner voice is trying to tell you. And that's extremely important as well. In addition to that, can't mention it enough, sleep. Sleep is important. That's when your body actually repairs itself. So if you're not getting good sleep, that cellular repair doesn't happen. And all of those diseases that we've talked about, those issues, become heightened because the body hasn't had time to repair itself. Inflammation being one of those. So good sleep is important, and you need to sleep a good 7 to 8 hours at night so that your body gets 4 hours of REM sleep, which is where all the cellular repair happens. So I can't stress that enough either.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, sleep, definitely. Yes. And the role of relaxation, recovery, and awareness overall, obviously sleep, right? To kind of reset your body. And
yes. And taking vacations, taking some time away from what's stressing you is extremely important. That includes relationships. If you're in a toxic relationship, be aware that that's probably not healthy for you, and year after year after year, that's going to change your body chemistry.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that includes relationships with other people, not just a spouse or a loved one, but other people, where you work, the amount of stress you have at work. You have to sometimes take notice of what's happening around you and remove yourself from situations that are not healthy for you.
Absolutely. I always tell my clients, my friends, your environment is very important. If you have, like you say, a toxic environment, that's all you attract. I'm very into like what you attract, or like blocking the energy. If somebody's on the way, or if it's not serving you, you send them love and peace and you move on.
Absolutely.
You know? Absolutely.
Self-preservation first.
Exactly. So what is the most important message for women over 40 struggling with weight or hormonal changes?
2 things. One is find out what your hormones look like. A lot of people are afraid to ask, or I'd have to say a lot of women in particular suffer in silence. They don't really mention it to their doctor because they think this is normal, this is how it should be. But it doesn't have to be that way. So don't be afraid to mention to your doctor, hey, I'm concerned about my hormones, or I'd like to know. Without that conversation, the doctor likely isn't going to check. Absolutely. And then when things change, say something. You know, if you feel something, say something. Because if someone's not aware, they don't know how to help you.
Absolutely. And what is the first step they should take to improve their health and well-being?
Great question. 1, move.
Movement is the key. Movement is the key.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then paramount to that is watch what you put inside your body.
Your body,
Because again, you don't create energy, you don't destroy energy, it just changes form. So whatever we put in here, the body is going to use it in some way or another. You want it to use it in a healthy way versus an unhealthy way.
Absolutely, absolutely. And encourage listeners to take a proactive approach to their health.
Absolutely. So one thing I would leave you with is remember that you are in control of everything that you put in your mouth. You're in control of how much you move your body. If you want your body to serve you well, you have to treat it well. Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Honestly, it has been an honor having you on my podcast, and I think a lot of women are gonna benefit from this episode, and I can't wait. And if you please have any questions, don't hesitate. We're here. And Doctor, what is your practice?
Yes, my practice is Tammy Jones, MD. I'm located at Arlington Boulevard, just outside of the Mosaic District. And our phone number is 703-426-4900. And one of the things that we do that's pretty cool is if you're interested in coming to see the practice or learn more about it, we offer complimentary consults. So you get an hour just to talk with me to see if it's a right fit for you.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And I can't wait to see you in my next episode. And I am so excited about this one that I know a lot of women are going to get something out of it. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you for having me.
This is for men or women. It's a kind of sensitive subject because we don't like to talk about this, but we have an amazing machine here called Encella. It helps to strengthen your pelvic muscles. You come and sit down with clothes on. It's not invasive treatment. In 29 minutes, you can get about 11,000 Kegels that help women when you're playing tennis or pickleball or jumping in a trampoline with your kids and you have accidents, or you just can't wait for the next exit to catch the bathroom. You don't need to suffer. We have this amazing machine. It's been around for a long time. Every client that has used it so far, great results. It really can help you to improve your lifestyle. And I can't wait to see you. Please sign up for a free session. Come and try it. You will thank me later.